Hello again and welcome to Shed Talk, my weekly magazine video series looking at the keeping, breeding and showing of cage birds with a particular focus on the exhibition style budgerigar. And this, I think, is going to be the very last episode, in fact I'm sure it's going to be the very last episode of Shed Talk in 2023. So next time I speak to you all will be in a new year, so looking forward to that. Thanks to all those who took the time to comment on the last video and wish me Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays. It was very much appreciated. I did have a really nice Christmas. Got a bit of a sore throat over it. Problem with having lots of guest rounds, I suppose, but still. But I did have a very good time over Christmas, and I hope all you had an equally peaceful time over that holiday period. Anyway, we're now into the next episode, and as I promised in the last episode, what we're going to do is we're going to get the youngsters out from the nappy flight, and we will take a look at those. And what I would plan to do is we'll look at them in order of their nest. So we'll look at the youngsters from cage 1 first, the youngsters from cage 2 second, and then finally the youngsters from cage 5 at the end, and that will give us some indication as to which of the pairs may well have produced the better quality youngsters and which ones didn't. We'll need to bear in mind the numbers they produced and the type of bird that we are using as well, but perhaps we'll have a little talk about that when we're looking at the birds. As always, if you do enjoy the episode or any of the episodes of Shed Talk, then please do hit the like button, and of course don't forget to comment, and equally as importantly, if you're not yet a subscriber to the channel, then do of course hit the subscribe button, and for early notifications hit the bell. Right, let's see if I can get a few youngsters out and we can take a look at them in a show cage. So from cage 1, and the oldest of the birds out of that first group, we have this dominant pied. Not doing too well in the show cage at the moment, but we'll get her back on the perch if we can, or him back on the perch. Overall I quite like this bird. Looks like it's got all the potential of Dad in terms of the way it stands, and we have managed to improve on the spots of Dad. If you might remember, Dad is missing spots on one side of his face, and when we spoke to Terry about Dad, he did say that Dad managed to throw spots, so hopefully that'll be, and what has turned out to be the case in this bird. So it looks like it's going to have a full set of spots, which make it help him on if we do get him out onto the showground. But overall we're pleased with the first bird out of cage 1. So another youngster from cage 1. This one is a normal light green, or I believe, although it might actually be a dark green. Again, not the best bird in the show cage. This one actually has grown quite well. It was a little bit behind the other birds for a little while, but now seems to have grown into himself. So it's a reasonable face, could do with a bit more depth of mask. Again, got a full set of spots, unlike Dad. But also looks like he's going to be quite a reasonable sized bird when we look at him. Just need to get him some showcase training, get him used to sitting on the perch and relaxing a little bit. So this is the second bird from cage 1. So another bird off of cage number 1, so off of the dominant pied, and another light green. And this bird actually even before it was weaned, I thought this bird was going to be a nice bird. It doesn't stand very well on the perch. You can see it's sat down quite low, but it does have really nice width across the shoulder and a nice big broad mask. Could do with a bit more depth. The broadness of the mask makes the head look quite narrow. I'm not sure the head is overly narrow, but it makes the broadness of the mask certainly looks like that. So almost like it's not got a massive amount of back skull on it, but it's still got quite a bit of developing to do. So it's the youngest of all the three that we've looked at, and again, full set of spots. Looks like they're going to be quite large spots as well, which is always handy. So overall, I actually think this one is going to be a keeper. As with all the birds, let me have your thoughts on them. Seems to not mind the show cage as much as some of the others. So now we have the final bird out of cage number 1, so the last of the birds off of the dominant pied outcross that we got. And again, this bird is looking reasonable, although clearly not happy in the show cage. I'll just see if I can get him to settle a little bit. Sometimes this will help them to focus on something other than trying to get out of the cage, but I'm not sure this one's going to. I think all the ones out of this are going to need quite a lot of show cage training. This is the youngest of the birds off of that group, as I say, but already reasonable sized spots, even though it is quite young. So I'm going to be hopeful that this bird will be a keeper. If not, it will be a useful bird for somebody, I think. Maybe, if anything, it lacks just a little bit across the top of the eyes. I'll give her a while, see if she does settle so we can get a better view. If not, I'll try and get a still. So another bird out of cage 2. This is the youngest of them, I believe, or the youngest that survived. And not the biggest of bird. I actually don't think this is going to make it. I know it's split ino, so we might want to keep it just to breed a few more inos, but I'm not convinced that this is worth keeping. We'll see what we get on the second round with this bird. So it's another light green cinnamon. Strangely enough, I think this bird will settle in the show cage better than some of the others. I know it's not showing it at the moment, but it's much easier to get on the perch than some of them. We'll have to wait and see how this one develops, shall we? So this cinnamon light green was the third chick that we rung out of cage number 2. As with most of the others, again it needs quite a bit of show cage training. And again, as with the other birds out of this nest, we must remember that this is split for the Ino June. And is a little bit younger than some of the other birds, so it still has a bit of growing to do. And we'll need to see how all of the ones out of this nest progress. Quite a long bird, but doesn't have much bulk about her or him. The same, split for Ino. You may remember me saying that cage number 5, I think I said it in the last episode, was going to be split because I didn't think very much of the first round. Well, here's a typical example. This is the second of the chicks we rung in cage 5, and is very, very much a small-headed. I mean, it's got a bit of length to it, but it's small-headed, showing no real sense of showness about it, and it's definitely not going. You know, even at this early stage, being a cockbird, almost certainly not going to be a keeper. I mean, just look. No, I mean, I know it's still, again, it's fairly young, but we've seen the birds out of the cage 1 at the size of the spots they've already got. This has got nothing, no width, and yeah, it's almost certainly going to go into the sales cage. Make a very nice pet for somebody, I think. Quite a pretty little bird, but not a show bird at all. So, cage number 5. So that's a look at all of the young birds. I'm sorry that the birds weren't as steady as I would have liked. Obviously, clearly need to give them a fair bit more show cage training. And I'm also sorry if this episode is a bit shorter than most, but given that we're in between Christmas and the New Year on that holiday period, I'm sure you'll forgive me for not spending a long time recording when I can be spending that time with my family enjoying the Christmas period. Anyway, as I say, we'll be back again in the new year, where we'll do a look at the shed for January, and perhaps I'll talk a little bit about what I alluded to in cage 5, or we'll leave that to a full breeding update. As always, you know, if you enjoyed it, do hit the like button, do comment, do subscribe to the channel, but most importantly, do stay safe and enjoy your birds.